You just gonna hang inside while we go out? All right, Mitt, we're going out. Steve, if you don't cooperate and come out with us right now, we're gonna drop your name from the marquee. I need the enthusiasm of a T-Rex. We need that kind of enthusiasm on this team every day. We're gonna go out the door and do weather and more. And boy, do we have more and more and more. Here comes Mitt. Mitt, no, he's not tied up. Steve, you're fired. Bye. Oh, I forgot to show you the thermometer. It's 27 degrees at my house. What is it at your house? Coldest morning so far for most of the Northeast. I see 3 degrees on the map. Now, where is that? Tupper Lake, New York. Berlin, New Hampshire. Berlin, New Hampshire. And the summit of Mount Washington is warmer than the valleys. We have an inversion this morning. Top of Mount Washington, 16 degrees. Wind still from the north, though. So technically, we're still in cold air advection. That is, the atmosphere in parts of eastern New England still getting a little colder. There are those ocean effect clouds with the cold air over relatively warm water. Similar but different over a lake at Yo Willie's place, somewhere in north central Massachusetts, I think. The lake was steaming this morning. We have a lot of fluid dynamics at work. Fluid. Think of water and oil. Air is a fluid. Anything that takes the shape of its container is a fluid. So I want to make an analogy with cold and warm air to water and oil. Water is like cold air, and oil is like warm air. Oil floats on water. Warmer air floats on colder air. Of course, usually a bowl is not moving. In the atmosphere, everything is moving. So we have a bowl of cold, high pressure over New England right now. 1036 high. A vigorous storm system in the Mississippi Valley, 1,007 millibar low. Quick math, that gives us about a 25 millibar pressure gradient advancing into the northeast. What is wind? Air moving from high to low. Fluid dynamics. So as this high recedes slowly to the east, think of the high pressure system as sort of a really heavy defensive line on a football field. And then think of the low pressure system as sort of a lighter weight, but strong, offensive line. So the offensive line and warm and humid air is coming at the defensive line that just doesn't want to give up much yardage. And what happens is the warmer air initially runs into the colder air, and the lighter weight warm air goes over the top of the heavier cold air. That produces overrunning, and precipitation begins just about 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock tonight in western New England. And it is just cold enough for snowflakes on the front side of this system. And the cold air is going to be slow to release, so as precipitation advances into the Boston area about midnight or so, that rain snow line pretty close to Massachusetts Turnpike initially, and at lower elevations it's going to be rain, but higher elevations, especially up to Route 2, it's going to be snow. So the lower elevations do warm up fairly quickly, so no snow expected along I-90 and points south. Cold rain. And then interesting, watch the rain-snow line. I guess I got to rewind a little. The rain-snow line moved north up to the Champlain Valley, west of the Green Mountains. It's raining near Montreal, and it's still snowing in southeastern New Hampshire, or mixed precipitation, about, say, 4 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. And then the whole thing kind of races off, and that rain-snow line, northern Vermont, doesn't really collapse back south. There's no cold on the back side of this thing, and the snow-rain line goes up to central Maine and keeps going and out. How much snow? Here's the snowfall forecast. See a few inches up the spine of the Green Mountains. Jay Peak right on the edge there. Jay probably gets 4 or 5 with the rain on the west side. And then what's fascinating, Mount Washington area, Mount Washington gets about a foot. And then just to the west and north of Mount Washington, nothing. Anybody that went to Lyndon State College knows that's called the hellhole effect. What do you mean, hellhole effect, Tim? Well, it was kind of frustrating going to Lyndon State College in the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont. You'd see those huge snowstorms coming at you. So let's go back to the fluid dynamics. What caused no snow just to the west and north of Mount Washington? The cold air gets sort of dammed up on the east side of the mountain chain here. So if you have cold air at the bottom 5,000 feet, and you have mountains that are 6,000 feet tall there, presidential range, the warmer air is going to go over the top of the Green Mountains and over the top of the White Mountains, but it's going to go over the top of the cold that's sort of dammed up on the east side of these mountains. So the upper level flow is from the west-southwest, and the low level flow is from the southeast. So that really rich, moist southeast flow coming up from the ocean over the top of the White Mountains. The mountains wring out the snow on the south and east side, and then on the north and west side, hardly any precipitation. We called that the hellhole effect. Suppose I really need a drawing board to show all that. Good morning, Hull. All right, shall we get over to the Hull effect now? What's going to happen to the air over Hull and Nantasket Beach tomorrow morning? Well, we talked about that pressure gradient, 1035 high. And let's watch the low come in here. Now, we'll use the HRR again. The yellow, red is wind gusting past 35. Yellow is wind gusting past 50 knots, very close to Nantasket Beach, 4 a.m. tomorrow, as the pressure gradient really tightens. And then as the center of the low comes right over, by 2 p.m., same spot, wind from the southwest at about 8 knots. So there is a wind advisory for Cape Cod for tomorrow for some gusts past 50 miles an hour first thing in the morning. It's almost going to be like an eye-like feature going right over us. And then the wind goes light. And then the problem with tomorrow afternoon, the forecast after this storm, there's not really any cold air available. Let's go to the 850 millibar. I show this 5,000 feet. Blue is cold enough for snow. Yellow is warmer. And you see the yellow going into the Great Lakes states. There's a low way up in northern Canada. We've been talking about it, trying to pull warmer air up. But the southern feature going into Ontario and then redeveloping near New York City tries to hold the cold that's already available. And that's how you get that really quirky rain-snow line way up near Montreal and down near Stratham, New Hampshire. And then the cold air is left west and only gradually comes in Friday into Saturday, and supposedly without any fanfare, it turns colder this weekend for a really nice weekend of skiing, although it will have a midwinter chill and some wind. So think total midwinter skiing this weekend on the several trails that'll be available. Snow guns will be going. Mountain ops teams will be really busy producing more and more snow. And then all of a sudden on Monday, here comes another yellow up the coast, and oh my goodness, it's warm enough for a little bit of rain and snow mixed around here on Monday. And then deeper cold comes back again the second half of next week. Purple, notice it's mostly aimed at the Midwest and then lifting just north of New England. So it looks a lot like the Great Lakes states are going to be the center for wintry weather for the most part after today, for the next week or 10 days anyway. All right, now I'll show you the surface maps one more time here. The primary low on the system is way up north of Hudson Bay. Then there's a second low that goes up to near Toronto, and then the third low redevelops near New York City. That is just the fluid dynamic, Mother Nature trying to follow the path of least resistance. Where's the thermal gradient best? Well, your water is warm, your air and the mountains are cold, so that's why that low redevelops near Cape Cod and the islands and goes out. And then we have to wait for the high pressure system to come in for the weekend, and then all of a sudden that goes out. And then you have another system trying to come up here with a mixture of rain and snow, which is probably underdone here for Monday into Tuesday before new cold comes in again late next week. So shall I show you the coast-to-coast 10-day snowfall guess? Right now, it looks like most of what falls in New England falls over the next 48 hours. but I think there will be surprises. There are always surprises. We'll be chasing the weather for you tomorrow. Light winds, still from the northwest right now. It's going to come around from the northeast. Clouds increasing rapidly. Oh, bird just went over there looking for his morning breakfast. I haven't put the breakfast out. Note the weather stick is kind of pointing up. That's for now because it's dry air. But clouds are going to be coming at us from every direction. In from the east and southeast, down near the ground. Time lapse is going to look awesome. And in from the west and southwest, high in the sky. You can barely make out the cloud way out there on the horizon. And how many leaves will be left on the burning bush by tomorrow or the weekend? I think I might be going out the door in Cape Cod in the morning. A little bit of frost down there in the compost pile. Yesterday was a really rewarding day. Hard work. A bunch of sort of secretive people gathered in the community yesterday, and I was invited. It was an invite-only volunteer day to pack something like 1,700 Thanksgiving dinners for donating across the community here. So a lot of fun people having a good time. And totally anonymous. I'm not allowed to say who organized it or where it was. I'll just tell you, it was real work and it was real rewarding. And now it's my turn to go shopping and get my stuff. Sun has just hit the flagpole. Talk to you tomorrow. We say we take Steve's name off the marquee T-Rex. He's just not pulling his weight. Mitt, I may have to recruit you to take his place. Steve, I'm sorry, but you're fired. Oh, the rutabagas got loose. Free the rutabaga! Free the rutabaga! How do you cook a rutabaga anyway?
You boil it, salt and pepper and butter, and just mash it up. Nice little puree. You're all set.
And you say you grew up on it?
I grew up on it. Yep.
Good enough for you. Good enough for all of us.
One pallet, right? One pallet. Yeah. And these one? I think it is.
What is a rutabaga? This is a rutabaga. It goes a long way. It's cold outside in New England, so there's all the pallets. Frozen turkeys, fresh vegetables, cranberry. Enough, I think, for about maybe 1,800 families, somewhere in there. So I've been told. My first year. Pleasure. Calling it a day.